This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
What's going on, everybody? Guys and girls, welcome back to another edition of the SmackDown review right here on the WWE Podcast. As always, I am the host of this show, Ritter. You can find me on X at Michael5Ritter, on Instagram at MichaelRitter5, and also the host of the Football Function Podcast, available on all your podcasting platforms, including on Patreon if you prefer an ad-free listening experience. Joining me on today's episode to review the Go Home show for the King and Queen of the Ring premium live event, patron of the show, returning guest, Frankie Graham. Frankie, thank you so much for joining me here today to recap this episode of SmackDown.
Oh, it's a pleasure, man. Ready to break this down.
Oh yeah, same here. We're actually doing this about 1 o'clock Central Time, so King and Queen of the Ring has already started. We haven't gotten a chance to see anything. I know that Frankie said he caught the kickoff show, but I was actually watching SmackDown or at work. I'm not sure exactly when the kickoff started, but as soon as I got off work, I went and finished up SmackDown, and now we're ready to talk about it so we can get into, obviously the chronological order that things happened, and then we'll kind of give some quick predictions for the very end of this episode. But before we get into that, Frankie, how you been, man? It's been a little bit since we've gotten a chance to talk. Has life been going smooth for you?
Yep. It's been going really good. Just trying to keep up with what's all going on with the WWE and what's going on with my boys, the Detroit Lions, and just work and everything. So I did get to meet Chris Nunez.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he went to a convention here in Wichita, Kansas. So I got to meet him in person. That was pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, so really quickly, I'm curious. Are you a fan of the new Detroit Lions uniforms? Because I know that you guys switched not too long ago, and obviously you just switched again. So are you a fan of the new look?
I am, actually.
That's not surprising. I mean, it's a nice little uniform you guys got. Obviously bringing back the blue face mask. That's phenomenal, and just more of an old school traditional theme. I really do like that.
Yeah.
But with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into this episode of SmackDown. Obviously, this episode aired on May 24th, 2024 from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Location breakdown brought to you by none other than DJ Kuzmo. And one thing I noticed immediately was the stage, how it looked different at first, just given, just being in the moment. As soon as I started SmackDown, the first thing that I said was, oh wow, like the stage looks different. Did they get a new stage? What's going on? And then I kind of realized, oh, this is a Go Home show. They're overseas. So clearly they just do what they've typically done. SmackDown uses the stage of the Saturday pay-per-view, and I do appreciate that. It does give SmackDown a little bit of like a little bonus as like, oh, this little, cherry on top for watching SmackDown. You get a little sneak peek of what the stage is going to look like the following night. So I've always liked that. But another thing I noticed, because this pay-per-view started with a women's match, it's one thing that always kind of, I've seen it happen for so many years now, but it always kind of, catches me off guard anytime I see a women's match in Saudi Arabia, because obviously they have to tweak their gear to completely cover their whole body. Even the referee has a long sleeve shirt on underneath her shirt. And I just thought that, in 2024, I'm not trying to get into anybody else's culture or say that it's wrong or right or anything like that. I just feel like it's kind of odd that in 2024, they're still doing that. But I mean, with what they're used to seeing on a daily basis, seeing some of the gear that the women wrestlers are wearing in today's day and age, it would be like, a completely culture shock, I guess.
In my opinion, with the way they have to dress over in Saudi, I actually like it because of the fact that it's about the wrestling, not about their look. Like, for example, the way Rhea Ripley's been showing off her stuff on X and all that, it doesn't show up a good image. It's putting it back to the 90s, when they had to do the bra and panty matches and stuff like that. This, when they're in Saudi, it's about what they're capable of doing.
Yeah, that is a really good point, that it's not just about, the eye candy aspect, where like if a wrestler that really doesn't have a whole lot to offer inside the ring, she could wear a specific outfit that could still garner her a pretty solid fan base, and I feel like that kind of is eliminated from the equation whenever you look at, the way that they do things in Saudi Arabia. But this show started off with the women's semifinals match, Bianca Belair versus Nia Jax. I feel like this was a pretty impressive match, and Nia wins in impressive fashion. Then she immediately cuts a promo directed at her opponent, for King and Queen of the Ring. Do you know how to pronounce the name? I admittedly have not watched Monday Night Raw in a handful of weeks, so I'm not too familiar with the other finalist that's representing Raw.
Lyra Valkyria.
Okay, is she like? I hate to sound like such a outsider, but I'm not really familiar with her name.
She's from Ireland. She was trained by Becky Lynch. They both trained together when they were both over there. And, when she went to NXT, and she wrestled, Becky for the title, and she beat Becky for the title, it kind of threw everybody's eyes open, saying, hey, she has capability of going to the dance.
Yeah. So I'm not really too familiar with her, but obviously I'm going to watch her tonight whenever I watch the King and Queen of the Ring finalists, where, she's going to have an opportunity for a championship match at SummerSlam, which that's a little bit of a sidebar there. Triple H makes the announcement that this King and Queen of the Ring tournament, respectively, for both the men and the women, there is something at stake. There are some good things on the line, not just wearing a crown, not just getting the opportunity to have a new gimmick for a couple months that's going to go stale and people are going to get tired of it. We've seen Queen Zelina, Shinsuke Nakamura, I believe, had like a King gimmick going on. Like, we've seen this happen time and time again. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it kind of falls flat. But this makes it more like, yes, you get a phenomenal looking crown that clearly they redesigned a little bit, but also it's almost like a Royal Rumble in a sense, where you get a championship opportunity at SummerSlam, which SummerSlam is going to be 2 nights this year. I feel like, okay, I should have seen it coming. I didn't, but I should have known that SummerSlam is going to be 2 nights. And I promise you, it's only a matter of time before the Royal Rumble is going to be 2 nights, and they're going to have the men's on one night and the women's on another night, and they're just going to load up that card. It's smart. You get to pretty much, when you're talking about, gate entry, you talk about, pay-per-view subscriptions and things like that. Obviously it's on Peacock, but still just the streaming numbers. Triple H is always, at every single press conference after a pay-per-view, is talking about the numbers. Now they just broke this record, how they just broke that record. That's only going to continue to happen if they're doing things like that. So, I do think that, yeah, it's only a matter of time before we get the Royal Rumble broken down into 2 days. And at this point, being someone that has gone to a 2-night WrestleMania, it is pretty cool. Like, because you get that first night, and then you get to go home, you get to recharge, and then you have that whole day to get excited. All right, we're going back to WrestleMania tonight. And I think that, doing that for SummerSlam is, obviously a step in the right direction, but I'm more so just happy that the King and Queen of the Ring, they actually have a little bit of something to fight for. And, that always makes the tournament mean a little bit more. Do you agree?
I do. The only downfall is with the 2-night SummerSlam, that won't be for 2 years.
Oh, so it's 2026. Okay.
Yeah, it's in 2026. It's not this coming up here, which I wish it would have been, because with as hot as the talent is right now, it would blow the roof off of what the previous SummerSlams have been.
Yeah, and they're really banking on WWE continuing to grow in the right direction.
Right, and doing that this year would do that rather than waiting 3 years to be able to do something.
Yeah, no doubt. So let's see. The next thing that happened in SmackDown, Grayson Waller effect with LA Knight. And Carmelo Hayes comes out and puts himself over, obviously referring to his draft status. He's going to reference that as long as he possibly can. He pitches to A-Town Down Under that all the young guys need to stick together. And they need to kind of, not let the old guys take the glory, take the shine. And then he kind of goes in on LA Knight, talking about how LA Knight's an old guy, but he's kind of just now getting the exposure, and he really doesn't have anything on his resume that other guys his age do have. And this kind of just seemed very, I guess it could have just gone right over my head, but I assume Carmelo Hayes was a babyface for this whole time. Is he a heel? Because this was a very heel promo.
He's a heel. He has been a heel. He's like I consider him more of like a newbie heel.
So he's the one that turned on Trick Williams, right, in NXT?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought that was the other way around. I thought he was the one that got attacked.
So the way it broke down, Trick Williams, went to him and said, "Hey, I would like a match with you. Brother to brother, bro to bro." And he agreed to it. And then he turned on Trick. And then now Trick has the title. And Carmelo Hayes went to SmackDown. And I personally think he shouldn't have been number 1 draft pick. But hey, that's my opinion. He became a heel. Now, it's a good start. You got to start off as a heel and when you first come into the business. You really do. To set your name out there. Because, it's better overall.
And I agree with you in the sense that Carmelo Hayes was overdrafted. I personally feel like Braun Breaker, I mentioned this on a previous show, that he should have been the early pick for SmackDown. He was already on SmackDown. There was the huge negotiation where he was going back and forth, and all that happened was 2 months later, we end up seeing this guy get drafted to a completely other brand, and that's one thing that does frustrate me with the timing of these drafts. They know they're coming, so why would you even do that? The antics you were doing with Jade Cargill, Tiffany Stratton, and obviously Braun Breaker, all of them choosing SmackDown. Luckily, we still got the women on SmackDown, but it was strange that so quickly we get a draft where they just shake the whole thing up. But after he gets called out, LA Knight does come out to the ring and respond very quickly. He, gets very direct and straight to the point. You're poking an angry dog with a sharp stick. I thought that was a pretty good expression to kind of explain exactly what's going on. And as LA Knight is leaving, Hayes hits him from behind, and then it becomes a 3-on-1 until Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins come out to even the odds. And during the commercial break, Nick Aldis made it official that we were going to get a 6-man tag match, LA Knight and the Street Profits versus Grayson Waller, Austin Theory, A-Town Down Under, and Carmelo Hayes, which the babyface team ended up winning this match. I don't really think that, because I feel like the 6-man tag match, anytime you get an impromptu 6-man tag match, 9 times out of 10, it's supposed to be filler. It's really not supposed to be anything too meaningful. But the fact that the tag team champions do lose to the Street Profits, do you feel like this, all but makes it official that if not at SummerSlam, very, very soon, we're going to see the Street Profits get an opportunity to take those championships off of A-Town Down Under? Because we did see the Street Profits have a little bit of an interaction with DIY later in the show. So do you think it's more so, propelling them to that kind of that next level? Okay, now you go up against DIY, and then we'll kind of go from there. See which one of those two teams kind of, prosper.
I think, as of right now, the Street Profits, my opinion, are washed up. The way when they first came to, Raw a few years ago? I think it was 4 years ago. They were hot because they were all about ruthless aggression. Hard for me to say, sorry. But they were all about pounding and doing all that, but they were still a babyface. And that's what they need to go back to and get that, because if they're going to be with the Pride and be with Bobby Lashley, Bobby Lashley's a hard-hitting man. They have to be hard-hitting team.
Yeah, very true, very true. And also,
in order for them to take the title and get back to where they were. That's what they have.
EFAB. That's one thing I kind of wanted to talk about is it just seems like they're trying to just find a place for her. Like, she really doesn't fit in too well. Like, I think that part of me wants to just,
she's just eye candy for them.
Part of me just wishes that Bianca Belair could be in that role. I just feel like the credibility of their group would go through the roof. Not only just Bianca, but get Jade in there too. Like, why not create a super faction and, really make this a strong unit here? Because I feel like BFAB, she's the last, she's pretty much on the ventilator when it comes to Hit Row. Hit Row was a group that one by one got shipped out of town, got sent somewhere else. Some of them are in other promotions. Some are doing other stuff. I honestly have no idea really where they all are right now, but BFAB is pretty much like if you go in a hospital or you watch a show that, involves like a doctor's office and someone's literally hooked up to a machine and they're kind of just, before they just completely flatline, you see the rare and very few and far between that little heartbeat, just beep, 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 beep. That's kind of where BFAB is right now, where it's like something has to happen. She has to, sink her teeth into something because at the moment, I just feel like she's just a warm body almost taking up space in that group. Yeah, she was able to, I guess, make it even whenever they were going up against the Final Testament. We saw her collide with Scarlett time and time again. But outside of that, we never saw her seem useful. She's not the mouthpiece, like which we've seen Zelina Vega do. She adds value in a faction filled with men because she's able to say, all right, well, I might not be able to do she's talented in the ring, but the people she's with in the ring are phenomenal wrestlers. So she's like, okay, what am I going to do to add to this group? What am I going to do to make this, a net positive, me being in this? I'm going to absolutely run circles around people on the microphone. And I don't see BFAB having that in her bag of tools. I think that she's more so, like you said, eye candy and just taking up space.
Yeah. Now, I was thinking about that, what you were just saying. Have like a faction, the Pride, plus have Bianca and Jade and Naomi all together and taking the SmackDown on Storm.
Yeah.
No, taking a word from Jade, but that would be a strong faction.
Exactly. Yeah, it really, really would. But this is about, the part in the show where I paused it because I started watching some last night and I finished it today. So the part that I came back in was for Cody Rhodes coming out to the ring, and he really doesn't even get a chance to say anything. He's immediately interrupted by Logan Paul. And then Logan Paul just pretty much assures him that he's not going to use any brass knuckles in their match at King and Queen of the Ring. He's going to, give him to Michael Cole, which I'm sure he already did. He gave him to Michael Cole, so he doesn't have anything, according to him. He's not going to do anything. But Cody Rhodes seems like he's 2 steps ahead. He references previous experiences with guys like Logan, and he says that his gut is telling him that Logan has a pair of brass knuckles on him right there, like on his person as they are talking. And Logan very confidently says, no, I don't. Like, you're lying. I absolutely don't have one. And Cody tells him, okay, well, brings the referee into the ring. The referee pats down Logan Paul, and sure enough, he does have an extra pair. Did you know there was going to be a pair once the referee comes in there? Did you know that there was going to be brass knuckles on him? Or did you think this was going to be an opportunity for Logan to prove that he was shooting it straight with Cody Rhodes?
I knew that there was going to be another brass knuckles, but this is my thought is I saw a video on X of Cody Rhodes as a heel and where he turned on somebody and just went crazy, like local crazy. I think it was an indie when he was in the indies, but he was a politician kind of Cody Rhodes. So it was cool. And so I was thinking this. I said, what if at King and Queen, he turns on Logan Paul after say Logan Paul wins. Okay, if Logan Paul wins, he turns on Logan Paul and turns heel, and then Roman Reigns comes back as a babyface.
That would be interesting because you would get the double turn. I think that's just probably the furthest thing from Triple H's mind, just given what we just experienced for so long. Having a heel champion. I know that Cody Rhodes is nothing like Roman Reigns in terms of, obviously their character, but also their schedule and the way that they appear on television. I think that it's been a while and a long time coming that WWE had a babyface champion that was as over as Cody Rhodes. One could argue that it's been since John Cena that we've had a champion that has really, been this, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for here? Controversial? Almost like it's probably still not the word that I really want to say, but either you love Cody Rhodes or you hate him. There's rarely people that are just kind of indifferent where they're like, I really don't care about Cody and whatever. I have no interest, no investment in his story, whether he finishes it or not. Now there are people that are on the other side where they're like, yeah, I don't care if he finishes his story because I don't like Cody Rhodes. So that's where I feel like there are just two very distinct sides of the coin. And I just think that as interesting as that would be, Cody Rhodes being heel, I think that would be, a great call down the line. I just think right now in 2024, they're going to ride this babyface train that is Cody Rhodes for probably the foreseeable future. I was actually wondering that myself. Because
even if he won the title.
Yeah.
Even if he kept the title but turned heel, he can run the heel all the way to SummerSlam and bring back Roman, and then have Roman beat him, and then it would be Bloodline versus Bloodline at WrestleMania.
I guess it would just need the logistical part. Like there would need to be a reason for him to turn heel. And if he won his championship in that hypothetical situation, it would just seem like, what's the reason for you to turn heel? Like you have what you want. You finished your story. You're running. Like it would almost just make absolutely no sense for him to just out of the blue this recent after winning the championship turn heel. Now, if the crowd were to sour on him because he's going to be a babyface, he's going to be kind of forcing the same thing down people's throat for months and months during this championship reign. And if that happens, and if the crowd starts to just, inadvertently boo him, like what we saw them do to Roman Reigns, then yes, I think that they're not going to make the same mistake twice. They're not going to just try to force their own hand. No, he's a babyface. I know the crowd boos him. The crowd doesn't like him, but we know better than them. We're going to continue pushing him as a babyface. Kind of similar to what they did with Roman Reigns, and they wasted probably like 4 years of valuable time that he could have been a heel, just, wrecking shop in WWE.
But the problem is that Roman Reigns is more known as a heel than he is a babyface.
Yeah, now he is because he has been a heel for 4 straight years. But before that, I'm talking about whenever he was the big dog and he was getting, booed out of arenas on a weekly basis because they were tired of the babyface character. It was going stale. They weren't doing anything with it. And he hadn't had the mic skills. He wasn't as polished as he is right now. The Roman Reigns that was back then in 2016, 17, 18, he wasn't this Roman Reigns. He was the big dog, and he hadn't gotten the work done to his teeth, so it's even as little of a thing as that looked. The confidence that he brought didn't come until the pandemic hit, whenever he took time away, and then he came back. I agree that he is now easily. Roman Reigns is one of the greatest heels of all time. The run that he had as a heel is almost second to none. But as far as Cody Rhodes goes, it would have to be an organic crowd turns on him. They just grow tired of what he's preaching. They're no longer buying it. And then he just gets booed. Once the whoa stops, in his entrance, obviously, once that stops being so loud and so roarous, then I think that maybe they would consider that because, like I mentioned, I don't think they're going to make the same mistake twice. They wasted valuable years with Roman as a babyface. And I think that if the crowd's telling you, no, we want to see Cody as a heel, then you have to make that switch pretty quickly. But let's see here. They kind of keep going a little bit after that. After he finds the brass knuckles, they kind of just continue their little war of words. And then eventually, Logan Paul leaves and Cody Rhodes pretty much just tells him, hey, I'm going to beat you worse than you've ever been beaten, and I'm going to beat you to the point to where you regret getting in the ring with me. And I thought that was out of character from Cody Rhodes. I've just never really seen him that, I guess, intense and, just cutting straight to the point of physicality, just saying like, no, I'm going to beat you. He wasn't even saying things like that to Roman Reigns. It almost always seemed like it was coming from a point of respect during their whole build-up. Even kind of with Seth Rollins, it never got to the point to where he was verbally saying like, I'm going to beat the hell out of you. So as much as he says he respects Logan Paul and he does view him as an actual pro wrestler, not just a YouTube, pretty much poser trying to imposture himself as a wrestler, he actually respects Logan.
Didn't he do the same kind of thing, like I'm gonna beat you kind of deal so bad? Didn't he do that with Brock Lesnar?
That's kind of what I was thinking as I was listing the names, but I feel like that one was a little more like there was totally reasons behind it. Like this, what has Logan Paul done to warrant that? Like whenever you do what Brock Lesnar did, which is act like you're going to be my tag team partner and then just bam, kind of turn on me right there. And then you pretty much do the same thing because I'm pretty sure Brock Lesnar beat the hell out of Cody Rhodes like 2 or 3 times before Cody Rhodes was officially like, okay, I know it's stupid. He even said, is it smart to want to fight you? No. But do I want to fight you? Yes. Like I remember pretty vividly that Cody Rhodes was still like acknowledging the fact that, Brock Lesnar was far more superior than him, in terms of their physical stature and what they're capable of just beating the hell out of somebody. But yes, you are right. He did kind of go to that level with Brock, but I feel like that was warranted. This stuff with Logan Paul, it just seemed like, Logan Paul hasn't hit him with brass knuckles yet, has he? Has he even done anything really like that? I feel like it's more so just strictly verbal. Like they've just been having wars of words, right?
No, it's just verbal altercations, but he has been watching Logan for a while, so he knows what Logan's been doing. And to be fair, you know how Logan said that he was the first, he came out before Cody?
Yeah.
Okay, that is false because Logan, he came with The Miz and teamed up with The Miz as a celebrity person, first time, tag team. And this was, I'm trying to remember the year, what WrestleMania was.
It was WrestleMania 38 in Dallas.
Was it?
Yeah, I was there that night. I was in the crowd, and yeah.
Let's see, and Cody didn't come till he came
that same night. Cody Rhodes debuted that same night. They both happened night one of WrestleMania 38 in Dallas because it was Miz and Logan and they teamed up against the Mysterios because that was the first WrestleMania that Dominic was at and he teamed up with Ray. And then at 39, he went one-on-one with Ray. And then 40, this past year, he teamed up, like there was a tag team match where he was on separate teams with Ray. But yeah, as far as their debuts, they did happen on the same day, WrestleMania 38, April 2022, I think April 1st, 2nd, something like that.
I was thinking, I was thinking opposite. So.
No, yeah, there is a little bit of a connection there between them two, or a little bit of a parallel there because yeah, night one, WrestleMania 38 was whenever they both showed up. Obviously, Logan Paul, I thought that Logan had matches before that though. I thought that he had like a match in Saudi Arabia or something like that.
See, and that's what I thought too. I thought the first time he showed up in WWE. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yes. So I think yeah.
Let me Google this while I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think. I know that, he obviously had a match with Roman Reigns, Logan Paul did, but I feel like that came after WrestleMania 38. But I know that there was a moment at one point where he even said it. This is his 4th time going to Saudi Arabia, which means they have had to do it.
It says WrestleMania 38, April 22nd, April of 2022. Oh wait, after he had a few brief appearances in 2021.
Yeah.
But made his first professional wrestling debut as its Miz's tag team partner at WrestleMania 38.
Okay, so there is that connection between them, but other than that, I feel like, what is the point for Cody to have all this hatred? I mean, yeah, you mentioned it. He's watched Logan. Maybe it's just, all right, I'm not even gonna bullshit with this guy. Oop, I probably shouldn't have said that. I'm not gonna BS with this guy. I'm just going to pretty much cut it straight. Look, you're not going to fool me. You're not going to be a wolf in sheep's clothing or whatever it is. Like, I'm not going to let you just act like, even, he called his bluff right there. Like, dude, you got brass knuckles in your pocket right now. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to let you pull one over on me. Like, I know who you are. Let's cut to the chase. We're going to have a match. I'm going to beat the hell out of you. So I was like, yeah, as uncharacteristic as it was to me, I feel like, it still did. I mean, it wasn't bad by any means. I guess I just didn't expect. But let's see here. Up next, we get a one-on-one match. Chelsea Green versus Bayley, the WWE Women's Champion. Piper Niven interferes. This match ends very, very quickly. Bayley gets the win because of the DQ. What did you think about this? Just this match in general, even being on the card.
I thought it shouldn't have been on the card personally, because it was a squash match and then a beatdown.
Yeah. Because Bayley's pretty much on a whole nother level than, Chelsea.
Yeah. I mean, Bayley could have wrestled somebody different than Chelsea Green. Yeah, it's cool seeing Chelsea Green, but I mean, I did like how Chelsea Green was more rough. She wasn't like the little prissy kind of girl like she was over on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Like the prissy Karen, don't touch me kind of deal. That's how she was over on Raw. And this is the first time seeing her on SmackDown that I can remember. And she was more rough and tough, and so that's the positive out of it.
Okay, well, let's see here. Keeping things backstage for a little bit. AJ Styles approaches Nick Aldis and asks for one more chance, talking about the undisputed WWE Championship. He pretty much says, the winner out of Logan and Cody, just give me an opportunity, give me one more chance. Nick Aldis says that, personally he would love to, but professionally he can't do that. He can't just give AJ Styles that opportunity. What he wants has to be earned over time. And AJ Styles quickly says, man, I don't have time. So something tells me AJ Styles is going to do something. He's going to cut a corner or two, maybe piss somebody off to get that opportunity come. What did you think about this interaction between Nick Aldis and AJ Styles?
I thought it kind of threw some stuff under and giving people some other perspective of who AJ Styles is and what he's capable of doing, like who he could compete against, and not for the title, because he doesn't have time left.
Keeping things backstage, Paul Heyman reminds Solo Sikoa that Tonga Loa isn't there tonight. They couldn't get him overseas. They couldn't get him to, I guess it's something had to do with his passport or something. I'm not really sure, but Solo seems unbothered. But Heyman claims that the men that Solo is recruiting are dangerous, and Tama Tonga pretty much just gets in Paul Heyman's face. What were you going to add?
I was going to say that from what I think, it was like something like his background.
Oh yeah, exactly. You're right. I did mention him say that because of the things going on with his background. If they were to do a background check, it wouldn't be good. So that was just their way of telling us that this is a guy that's not necessarily a, walk a straight line, follow all the rules type of guy. If he has to, he can get dirty and he can break a few rules. And apparently they're not going to allow him in Saudi Arabia. I'm not sure what the real reason is, but, they're trying to paint this Tonga Loa guy as, a physical force, a wild, unpredictable element of this group that maybe they didn't have in the past. And, we've kind of gotten that same thing from Tama Tonga, who Corey Graves said is almost more hyena than he is human being, which damn near makes sense if you just listen to him talk and kind of just look at his mannerisms and things like that. But
Well, and I do know that Tama Tonga and Tongaloa, which they're brothers, they were both trained by Bubba Ray Dudley.
really,
Yes. Yep. They were trained by Bubba Ray Dudley, because their father, came to Bubba Ray and says, "Hey, can you train these?" And then they were known as the GOD. I think it was. I think that's what they were.
interesting. Well, that probably does, confirm the connection to Paul Heyman, obviously, the connection that Heyman has to the Dudley boys, and now he's working with these brothers. So it's crazy how things kind of just come full circle, and history almost repeats itself in a way. But we get the main event here, the semifinals for the men's side, or I guess the SmackDown side. Tama Tonga versus Randy Orton. Gunther in the crowd watching, who already advanced to the finals on the Monday Night Raw side. And Tonga comes out very quick after they ring the bell, takes his gear off, immediately tries to cheap shot Randy Orton. Match goes on. It leads to outside of the ring. Obviously, Randy Orton is a very long-paced type of match. He likes to kind of slow it down, or I guess slow-paced, to create a long match. He likes to wear you down and then hit you pretty much like his version of a knockout punch is that RKO at the very end after he wears you down for a 15, 20-minute match and hits that RKO out of nowhere. Most men don't come back from it, and Tama Tonga could not. So Orton wins a pretty good pay-per-view quality match. I will say this was a main event on a very jam-packed crowd in a loaded stadium that's going to be filled with, obviously probably some of the same people, a lot of different people for the actual pay-per-view that's going on tonight or right now. But Orton wins this. I feel like it was the right choice. Now he goes one-on-one with Gunther, but before that, Solo comes in after the match, attacks Randy Orton. And, obviously Kevin Owens doesn't like that, so he comes out and kicks Solo's ass. And that's ultimately how the show goes off the air. So I have to ask you really quickly, this kind of segues us into making a couple predictions, because obviously the show's already going on, so I want to keep this as, keep the integrity as high as possible. So I know that there's two matches that I want to get your thoughts on. The King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring. The women's side, Nia Jax versus the Raw winner. You mentioned her name a little bit earlier. Even though I don't know her name, I just feel like it makes more sense for her to win, just giving her youth and given the way that she's shot up. Now, obviously, I don't want to see Raw win both because I do have a really good feeling about Gunther, but at the same time, Orton versus Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam has a lot of, juicy aspects to it. So if Randy Orton were to win, it would almost set up Cody Rhodes for his new opponent, and that would just be months worth of, good promos. The program itself, I feel like, would be an early candidate for program of the year, just because, where we are, it could get topped, obviously, but just the history, and now that the tables have kind of turned and Cody Rhodes is that top guy now, there's a lot of stuff that you could, tie in there, but really quickly, I will just go ahead and say that I kind of convinced myself I'm going Randy Orton, and I'm picking Nia Jax to lose. So the Raw woman, I think she's going to be the one that ends up getting the Queen of the Ring.
Interesting. That's a good pick. I mean, but you gotta look at the possibility, like with Nia Jax and Lyra Valkyria. Nia has the power, and she has the promos and stuff like that to help build the SummerSlam up, to make it monumental, because that's what she's doing right now, and she's gotten so good with the promos in the past few weeks. And Lyra, she hasn't done no promos, really. I mean, hers are all scripted. I feel like they're all on a piece of paper or, kind of deal. I feel like she's not doing it from within like Nia. And Nia has the experience and Lyra does not. So, I'm going with, now I said in the mailbag that I wanted Nia Jax to win it. I'm kind of retracting my statement, and I'm going to go with Lyra Valkyria. Just from what I saw on Friday.
I'm excited to watch her in this match. This is almost like a little bit of an old school feel because I am a SmackDown guy. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, I was a Raw guy, just full, like when I was a child, obviously, because I didn't have the channel that picked up SmackDown. So I was not like by choice a Raw guy. I just default. That was the only show that I was able to watch. And now I kind of have that other side of the spectrum here. Monday's a way busier night for me than, obviously Friday. And I just had this built into the schedule to cover the SmackDown review. But as far as Monday Night Raw goes, I haven't watched it. So there's a lot of, good talent there. And it feels like a whole different world.
You need to watch Raw. It's been getting real juicy. Getting really juicy.
Telling me.
Did you see the video where Uncle Howdy came and interrupted with Drew McIntyre?
So Howdy actually came out?
Yeah, there's a video of it on X. You can Google it and all that. You can find it on YouTube and stuff like that. But it was Drew. It was a few weeks ago. Drew was talking. He was doing his promo, and Uncle Howdy showed up. He didn't say anything, and then he disappeared.
Well, just in the time you were talking, I already got that video pulled up on YouTube. I'm going to watch it as soon as we stop recording. So, I guess that leaves me to say, that does it for the show, obviously. Is there any shout outs? Is there any plugs that you want to say before I let you go here?
Also, I wanted to pick my King of the Ring.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I apologize. Yeah, go ahead. I didn't want to get ahead of you.
It's alright. I'm gonna go with, I really want Randy to win it, just so it would be Randy versus Cody. But I think that's too soon. I think Gunther is gonna go against Cody at SummerSlam and make it just to hypen up the SummerSlam and make it epic. Because that will be one of Gunther's biggest match and Cody's.
Yeah, and you just think about them two coming down to the wire in the Royal Rumble, like how they do have a little bit of, things to kind of play back on. So either way, I think Cody set up well for a pretty good opponent going into the summer, and then obviously leading up to SummerSlam, who the winner of this match is going to be there waiting for him. So I'm really, really excited to see who does. In fact, it's probably already going on right now, so I'm also looking forward to getting in there and seeing what's going on with the old pay-per-view King and Queen of the Ring. But is there anything you want to shout out, any plugs or anything like that before I let you go?
I'm excited for Sunday's show on the football function with you, Mike. And we're going to talk. I'd like to talk about my boys, the Detroit Lions. But neither the case, because they got a great lineup right now. But you can find me on X at Frankly Wilder. I think that's what it is. And you can find me on TikTok at Tattoo Tide Tickles.
That's a good one. nice handle there. But anyways.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining. Obviously, it's always good having you on. You're a great wrestling fan. You provide good insight, good perspective. So you're always welcome on. And I'm definitely looking forward to having you on the football function as well to talk about your Detroit Lions. So stay tuned if you're a listener for that show for a conversation with Frankie and myself talking about the NFC North champion and hopefully back-to-back NFC.
It's gonna be a juicy conversation.
It is. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. And all you listeners out there, I hope you all have a phenomenal weekend. Enjoy King and Queen of the Ring. Whatever else it is that you have going on, have a safe weekend. Walk passionately in the direction of your dreams. And I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the WWE podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app. so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.